Good evening. My name is Andres Castells Perez, and today I'm going to be discussing the key points of a literary review. So, first, let's define what is a literary review. It is a critical summary of existing research on a specific topic. In other words, its main purpose is to show what has already been studied, identifying as the author certain gaps or inconsistencies, and then providing context for your own research. In other words, it answers and guides itself with two key questions. What do we already know about this topic and what still needs to be explored? So I'm going to define this in six key steps. The first one is going to be start by defining your research question or your topic. From this, I'm going to extract certain key terms and certain concepts. This will help me guide my research and ensure that I use the most relevant sources. Being this one of the most important points of the literary review and the research itself, the sources. For example, if my topic is the impact of social media on learning or the importance of social media in English as a foreign language, key terms such as social media, education, student engagement, interaction, social media quality, and other topics, other terms related by this, um, have a specific role. Then the second step would be locating the literature. For example, in terms of databases like Google Scholar, Scopus, or depending on your institution's library, we're going to apply these key terms and we're going to filter out certain publication dates, status, and other key terms to narrow our results and find the most appropriate and the most specific for what's our research about. In this case, then we move to the third step, which is evaluating and selecting the literature. We're gonna move or categorize these elements as credibility, relevance, and quality. As we all know, if we're searching something more as a survey and numbers and statistics that can maybe have an impact on our research, we're moving through quantity. But if we're talking about quality, do we have at hand certain researches that connect perfectly or are completely aligned with our research? The relevance, obviously, one of the most important. How relevant is the source that we are applying or connecting with our research? And the credibility in terms of, are we talking about a video? Are we talking about a documentary? Are we talking about a book, a research paper, something published? Depending on the author, credibility will play its role. Then we're going to organize the literature. Then we're going to select our sources and we're going to group them by themes, theories, methods, chronology. So it's going to make it easier to spot certain patterns, to spot certain trends, and to obviously spot contradictions. Useful tools like maps, tables, folders to keep everything organized. On the penultimate step, we're going to synthesize the literature. We're going to do a bit of a combination between summarizing and analyzing. How do stories relate to each other? Do they agree or disagree? Depending on all the sources we have accumulated and grouped throughout the research. And finally, we're going to write and execute the literature review itself. We're going to put it all together and we're going to have an introduction that defines the topic and the purpose, a body organized by themes and chronology, and a conclusion that's going to highlight the gaps and how your research fits in and how your research tries to find a solution, tries to find an answer, or tries to prove or demonstrate what you are researching as a problem for the society, as a problem for education, or whatever the topic might be. All right. And to summarize all of the elements mentioned, these six steps are going to help us locate, evaluate, organize, synthesize, and execute or write a literary review work. And we're going to have a better understanding of a research topic because First, we start defining the focus, then we gather and evaluate the best sources that we got, and finally, we organize and connect the ideas. Then, it's all about executing, writing, and putting it to paper. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for today's time.